Alright, we're recording now. Slightly late.
All right.
Is Smith gonna like have to discard again? At least he remembered this time. That's been an issue. Yeah, Bob hits the land. That's doing his job. So he also drew a land.
That is quite the number of lands.
And he's gonna consult the Necro Sages to try to draw non-lands, I guess. Or he can make Smith discard. What do you think of that?
I feel like I would have tried to draw some action.
Yeah. I think it becomes a better play once like you realize Smith is having land problems, but there's no indication of that yet. Yeah,
Right.
I would have just drawn 2 cards.
Dark Confidant can speed through time and deal damage before he attacks.
It's a good card. Okay, so there's an Orzhov Basilica, so he'll have white mana in like 2 turns.
Eventually.
Yeah. That's what he gets for taking my Orzhov Basilica.
That'll teach him.
Although to be fair, I probably don't need 3 bounce lands anyway. I'd have played that one over the Boris one. So Yuuki, pretty lucky that he drew Breaking and Entering instead of flipping it, because I believe it adds both sides, right?
That's my understanding. That's a bit of damage there.
Also, this attack is aggressive. He can't cast Murmuring Phantasm and Mill for 8 here, but he has no action left. I think this is going to be an interesting game.
Did you not like that attack? I feel like Smith isn't likely to block. He wants to draw cards.
I guess from our perspective, I don't know. I guess him playing an island, not a plains there, maybe means he needs cards. Is Yuuki really going to attack for 20 damage, though? I guess that's my main thing here.
Fair point.
Peel from Reality. Don't think that does anything right now. And neither player with much action right now.
Peel from Reality is fun with Eveling, I guess. How about 2 more lands?
Rogue's Passage.
This Confidant might go all the way.
6 damage. Bob has also done 6 more damage to the opponent than he has to his owner. It's a pretty good ratio. Yeah, the Devouring Light can't be cast, actually. So Smith can cast Render Silent, but awkwardly he has to tap all 3 of his lands to do so. So it basically costs 5 mana. Nice watery green. Drift of Phantasms.
Well, that could be a thing.
He could transmute it. I'm not sure for what.
got Night Veil Spectre, Undercity Informer, Cancel, Hover Barrier, Convolute. Looks like about it.
Okay. I don't hate Night Veil Spectre.
Yeah.
Cyclonic Rift. I wonder if Smith is just going to cast Aetherling. I would guess he probably won't, because he doesn't know Yuuki has 5 lands in hand.
Although Yuuki did go with the super aggro Rogue's Passage attack with Confidant Play.
Yeah. Yeah, that does kind of suggest not having much action. Forgot to look through what got milled. Some lands. Detention Sphere. Azorius, First Wing. Horde Hussar, Daring Skyjack, and Lavinia. Here's a Junk Troller. Well, he's going to cast Drift of Phantasms, and then I would guess probably play the Aqueduct and play Bob again.
He's transmuting.
Oh, okay. I'd say there's no way Smith is like waiting to cast Render Silent here. And he does get Night Veil Spectre. I think he can't cast it right now anyway. I'll say if he does it, I think it was going to get countered. Oh, no, my bad. He had 3 colored mana.
Yeah, he can't cast it.
But he's not.
Bob resolves.
Interesting.
Yuuki did not tap his Kolo's land.
Nope. I feel like, particularly in season 1 of the Rotisserie Draft League, yeah, there was some pretty loose mana tapping going on. I thought that had like mostly been corrected. Fly of Sky Knight's not bad. At least as a clock. He also has enough mana to... Oh no, he only has 1 white, so he can't cast the Sky Knight and hold up Render Silent. That's probably what's making him consider not casting it right now. If he can cast it and keep it around, it does give him the double white with a Convoke if he wants to cast Devouring Light.
That's a interesting interaction, I guess.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like like leaving Light of Sky Knight to tap or Convoke doesn't seem like its best use. Hover Barrier. Bob finally dealt damage.
Interesting to note how much work Remembering Phantasm has done, keeping that Steel of Secrets back.
Yeah. Another split card not drawn by Bob. Just all the value. Here's a Night Veil Spectre. If you can just come up with a like repeatable form of mill, he should be able to win the game easily, I feel like. Angelic Skirmisher. Can't cast that one either.
This mana.
Yeah, stop leaving up Rogue's Passage. What is going on? Now he also can't cast Error, like, which is not relevant because there's nothing to counter, but he doesn't know that. Also, still has 3 lands in hand, despite having 8 in play.
Will we see a mind grind for like 10?
That would be sweet. There's probably 10 lands left in Smith's library. Oh, there's a Codex Shredder. And Convolute. This may be the first time we ever see Render Silent on a Codex Shredder. Smith also just needs to hit 1 land to cast Cyclonic Rift, which would buy him a lot of time. Of course, now the Convolute could stop that. I think this is a Rogue's Passage activation. What do you think he targeted?
Gotta be Spectre, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, 2 of those guys can't even attack. And here is Devouring Light. Also has mana up for Convolute.
Yeah, does it get convoluted?
So, yeah, I expect this to resolve. Also, Smith only has 1 fewer card in his library than Yuuki does right now.
That's a thing.
Yeah. There's the second white. Now the whole book of tricks is open. Smith could be able to overload the counter spell here. Like, all of his relevant plays get countered, but he has 3 good ones. I think Aetherling is the one he really wants. I'll be surprised if he casts that right now. I think he's going to pick a different one. Oh, just kidding.
That could be a problem.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, this has to be a snap convolute. Because, like, that's the way he actually wins the game, like, very fast. Like, the skirmisher is cute, but it doesn't really do anything. Like, immediately, anyway. It'd take a little while to win. There's Dimir Charm. What does that do? I always forget what. Counter target sorcery, destroys a little creature. Okay, so it sort of mills 2 and gives him a bad draw step. At least that's how I imagine he's going to be using it.
Right. Its error surprisingly weak right now.
Yeah. Here's a Rogue's Passage. Chipping in for 2. Island. At some point, Yuuki can crack the Codex Shredder and recast Breaking, like if he gets close enough. That's something to be aware of. So I think he's actually somewhat close to winning, although he does have to worry about Render Silent or some counterspell.
I don't think I've ever seen a Codex Shredder actually get cracked.
Yeah, it's not why you play it, I would imagine. They had already made that card though, so they were like, yeah, let's add some additional text, so it's a different card. And alright, so he's gonna cast Angelic Skirmisher. There's no good attacks though.
You could at least lifelink in game 5.
Yeah. Codex Shredder hits new prov guild mage.
I don't see why he wouldn't gain 5, actually.
Yeah, there's really not much downside. This looks like a Incept Dimir Charm, probably the mill mode. I don't think he needs to kill Stealer of Secrets. Alright, so Azorius Arrestor, Azorius Chancery, and Island, it looks like. I guess he's just going to give him a land.
Smith does only have blue up, so if he's going to try to recast Air, it's a good time for it.
Uh-huh. Looks like alright, so he put them face down so that yeah, it was actually weird. I don't think he was supposed to reveal, but it's hard to do things like that on Cock Chase because like only showing things to your opponent. A few things slightly unwieldy here. I haven't gotten to play enough games on Magic Online for the $8 I spent on my deck. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I feel like, although I think if I make the playoffs, like 3 or all 4 of us will have it. So
For the Mirrodin draft, there's some pretty pricey cards in the format.
yeah, I don't see it happening there. All right, so he milled the island and no, the Azorius Arrestor. So he left Azorius Chancery on top.
He can Whispering Madness and Rogue Passage if you'd like to. And Smith draws 10.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, in response, he's gonna Rift. Oh, he's gonna Rift the Bob, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that he can't cipher onto something that can attack. I think this is a losing effort, though. Or not that he doesn't have anything better to do, but I don't think he really has much of a way out of this. Oh, he bounced the hover barrier. Interesting. So now they're each going to draw 5. Yuuki drew 6. Maybe I miscounted or something.
I'm pretty sure it was 5.
I also really want to see this Codex Shredder get popped. No, he's casting Balustrade Spy. I saw Balustrade Spy get cast at the Legacy Classic yesterday. Or not cast, but it was put into play by Manaless Dredge deck. And then the guy milled himself, missed his Narcomoeba triggers, and then lost because he couldn't cast Red Return.
Ouch.
I don't know how you miss your Narcomoeba triggers. Like, the deck doesn't actually do anything.
So with them drawing an extra card, Yuuki could have just won on the spot with Rogue's Passage activation.
True. Smith's hand does nothing. It's actually pretty impressive. Like, he's drawn 7 cards since last turn, and he just doesn't do anything. And that'll do it for game 1. Also worth noting that this game basically doesn't matter to Smith. Or it's like Yuuki really needs a win for the playoffs. Even if Smith wins this and then you beat him, you'll both be 6-1. We'll have the tiebreaker. So it actually doesn't matter, which is sort of funny.
Looking at Subway, I don't see a lot from Yuuki. I don't think it seems great.
Yeah, it looks like he's still got that pack rat he never uses. I also don't have the most recent list. I'm not sure what's in his main deck, what's in his sideboard.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
I'll have to fix that before the playoffs.
From Smith, maybe daring Skyjack and try to get faster.
Yeah, I think he wants to just board in. He has a Dryad Militant too, Deputy of Acquittals. I think he just wants to bring in like all of his cheap stuff.
Yeah.
And Remand seems good if that's not his main deck already. I think if he's playing Render Silent as his main deck, he's probably playing Remand too.
5 lands and 4 drops.
Okay. Yep. So that's Mulligan. There's Smith. Should probably bring the game back up. There we go. Yuki's hand's fine. It's not exciting. He does
the mono defender hand.
Yeah. It's like the Doorkeeper Wombo combo.
He just played cancel instead of an island. Close enough.
Yeah. That's not really a card you want your opponent to know about. Cancel has so many different arts. It's a random observation. And here is Mike Wazowski for Yuuki.
I haven't heard it called that, but it makes sense.
I just thought of it right now. All right, here's Stealer of Secrets. He's got 2 detained creatures and a tapper to try to get it through this game. course, we know Yuki's just going to keep casting defenders.
Whispering Madness not great with the Mono Defender draw.
True. Seems good if you can get it on to Mirko Vosk, but he's pretty far from doing that.
That does seem a little silly.
So is the way to beat the Azorius aggro deck to play a bunch of 05s? I think I would cast Minister of Impediments here. Because now, like, he still doesn't get to attack. Oh, I guess this way he can use Convoke to cast Devouring Light. I think that's what he's going for.
Works well for him, I guess.
Yep. Now he's not going to get milled. At least not in the immediate future. So you can either cast the 05 or leave up cancel. Or which of those do you think is better?
I feel like just leave cancel. He doesn't really need to block this second.
Right. Well, he kind of wants to... Yeah. I mean, he just needs to block the Stealer of Secrets. He can take 2 from the other guy.
Exactly.
It's a hover barrier. Gets in the way here. Azorius Arrestor gets across for 2. And now we have the Minister of Impediments. I don't think... This is actually a tricky spot for him because, like, I don't think casting cancel right now is going to win him the game. But that guy's going to be annoying. He has no way to get rid of it. But if he uses his only counter spell, like, he could lose to Lavinia or the Angel Serenity that was just drawn. So he, I think, is going to... He's not sure. I thought he was going to slam Mirko Vosk. Obviously, some things can go wrong there. Alright, so he's instead casting Phantasm and going to leave up Error. This does seem like a good spot to cast Lavinia. That Error could do some work.
That Minister seems pretty good against Mirko.
Yeah. He did board in the Skyjack. So Azorius Arrestor is going to get in again. I think all of the combat damage dealt to players in this match has been dealt by 2/1 creatures. Daring Skyjack. And another swamp. Alright. The Mind Drinker is in play. So Smith draws a land, he drew a rest. He just casts Angel and probably wins on the spot. Did you say something? I kind of heard some garbled static.
No.
Okay.
There's a choice for Smith here if he plays Lavinia and what's the play there? Tap down Marco, but then he takes the attack. That seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
So do you just arrest Marco and then wait a turn to do anything?
Yeah, I think that's probably fine.
So he gets to attack it'll be 2 damage.
Yeah, if he can tap the hover barrier and then the Skyjack gets flying, he'll get in for 5.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that's fine. Bob, a little late to the party this game. I guess he still casts it. Well, Whispering Madness. Oh, he just wants to draw new cards. That makes sense, actually. I was about to comment how bad his hand was. Well, nice draws.
Oh, well.
Smith has to be really frustrated. He doesn't know that 3 lands were drawn. He just lost 2 of his best cards. I think he's probably still going to be fine. Nope, lands.
Alright. That was a better time to cast that than Yuuki probably knew.
Yeah. Still getting hit down to 6 here. So he's going to have to top deck pretty quick. I like that his options were Decipher, a defender, or a creature that can't attack or block.
Does he have any way to undo an arrest? I don't think so.
Probably not. Oh. Land. Yuuki wasn't actually dead there, but he scooped anyway. He probably wasn't winning. I can think of a card that gets him out of it. Alright, so we're tied at 1. Looks like we're going to, or no sideboarding happens, so we're going to get right back to the match. Smith has a pretty obvious mulligan, I think.
And Yuuki has no blue.
No blue. I think they should both send it back. They do. Smith's. Maybe. Yuki's, I think, is fine. Smith gets 5. I would have been tempted to keep that. He had 2 creatures that are 1 and a white, and he had a plains, and you're on the draw and you get to scry. What do you think about that? I have to ask him after.
It's pretty close. I mean, once you do those, good chance of just doing nothing else.
Right. Looks like they both scry to the bottom. Yuuki scried Rogue's Passage, and Smith scried Aetherling. So, it seems pretty easy choices. Balustrade Spy.
Got that Spy Informer combo.
Yep. And the mind grinds. He's got all the mill until they hit lands effects. So what's the reason for not casting Breaking? Is he like faking a counterspell?
I really don't know. I would have.
Because now he has a play on 3 and on 4. So like I don't like maybe it just doesn't matter. He could also cast Breaking here and then play the Aqueduct.
That seems all right.
Yeah.
I think I would have just. Well, I don't know.
I would have just cast Breaking last turn, but like given that he didn't, I think this is fine.
Smith doesn't have Spell Snare, right? Well, he doesn't have blue anyway. Never mind.
All right, so he hit Locks on Gatekeeper, Lavinia, Daring Skyjack, Peel from Reality, and 4 lands. Smith putting the island into play from his graveyard. Yeah, that is noting. 3 of the lands are blue sources. It hit Azorius, Chancery, and 2 islands. There's probably only like 5 or 6 blue sources left. He's able to cast a Minister of Impediments. That's going to be pretty good while he's a bit mana hungry. This is presumably going to be a Balustrade Spy. Yep. Curious how many cards will get milled here. Remand, Render, Silent. Plains. Alright, I hit a Plains, not an island. That's important. I need to another one. So the only card he can cast is Devouring Light, but he can tap the Spy anyway. She's not really in too much danger of like dying really soon, although that Mind Grind's getting larger. Undercity Informer. Featuring the recently retired templating of sacrifice a creature instead of sacrifice another creature. Did Smith really draw another Plains?
Wow.
Brutal. I think like this game could come down to whether he draws blue before that Mind Grind gets cast. Because that Syncopate's going to get him eventually.
I count 17 lands in his deck and 9 out of the deck.
Okay.
So it's got a ways to go.
Yeah. Devouring Light's going to get... I assume he let the Undercity Informer attack. Because that way he can actually just... like, then the Spy can't be sacrificed. Yeah. Alright, Plains on top.
Why would Yuuki not just sack them both and get the mill on?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what good that 2/3 is going to be doing with the Minister sitting there. Simic Growth Chamber.
All right.
We have a game. And now the question becomes, will Yuuki fire off this Mind Grind before the blue mana is live? That's definitely the safer play.
Nope.
I think he would have if he didn't draw. Like, Nightveil Spectre is pretty good here. It's going to force... Or well, actually, it's not pretty good here. I disagree.
It gets tapped a lot.
I disagree with myself. Oh, he drew an island now, too, so now he has double blue.
Mind Guard getting pretty good if it would resolve.
Right. Smith, I think, has a pretty attractive option of just casting New Proth Guild Mage and passing with 5 mana up. If he casts a Sky Knight instead. Smith can syncopate for 3. That seems pretty relevant. Here's another land. I bet he's gonna kind of be pressed into firing this off now. Although it's not like he's under pressure. He could just wait. So tap 1, the other one was detained. No attacks here. Smith did bring in Dryad Militant. Alright, damage. Shots fired.
So he gave Yuuki the chance to trade?
I guess he did, and Yuuki didn't take it. Pretty interesting.
I feel like you might just trade there since the minister is keeping the guy down anyway.
Yeah, you're not getting that guy through anyway.
It's not like Balustrade Spy is going to win the game.
Yeah. And now he does make the play with the Guild Mage. So I really like Smith's position now.
Yeah, seems good.
Basically, the only thing that could go wrong is if he gets greedy and tries to detain the spy. Oh, well. Here's Murmuring Phantasm. What happens if you detain something during your end step? Nothing, right? It's until your next turn. Yeah.
Not much.
I meant during your opponent's end step. Yeah.
Its abilities can't be activated during the end step. That's bad.
Yeah. Is he doing it?
Be nice if they would use arrows.
He probably just did it for humor value. Angel of Serenity. This could actually be bad if he casts it.
It could.
Because he has 8 mana, and he only would not be able to syncopate. He could just get grinded, I don't know, out of the game.
Mind grinding. That's the German to conjugation, right?
There's 6 lands in the graveyard and 6 lands in play. So I think there's 5 lands left in his deck. So I'm pretty sure Mind Grind for 6 would do it here.
For 7 even.
Oh, yeah. Looks like he's detaining instead.
Do you like that from Smith's perspective? Seems safer, I guess.
Yeah. You have to be aware even of just like Glimpse the Unthinkable or something. Alright, so I guess the spy got detained. One of the ground creatures gets blocked. So this is going to put Yuuki to 12. If Yuuki draws a land, he might be able to like Mind Grind for lethal through Syncopate, but I don't know if he's like paying close enough attention. There's a convolute.
You can grind for 4 with convolute backup. Does not.
Yeah, that doesn't seem great. That's kind of interesting though, because like by playing this way, Mind Grind I think is literally the only card Smith's playing around. Is like if he taps 5 mana to detain, like he's not gonna be able to syncopate most of the other cards in the deck. So
yeah,
you might just have a read. Yuuki's best way to win is if he just draws Glimpse the Unthinkable. Detention Sphere. That's interesting. So he's going to make him pay 4. Yeah, Smith's just going to let it be countered. Yeah, he's definitely... he's locked in on keeping the Syncopate up, and I think there's a good chance that'll win him the game. They should be exiling stuff, but it doesn't matter. They figured it out. Okay. It's too much work to tell them to back up and exile a couple cards. Should be able to get in for another 5. Swamp. Yeah, this...
going for it.
Yeah, I think he has to. I think Smith played this game really well. I think you're going to be the only person who can stop another 7-0.
I don't know about that.
I need to get him later. Like, I've drawn him week 1 and then week 2. Like, I feel like I get better as it goes along. Like, I understand how my deck works and stuff.
Yeah.
Both of my losses are likely to be in the playoffs. So that's not great. And I'm sure if you win the number 1 seed, you won't choose me as your first opponent. So
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I'm like 20% against you.
that is a kind of matchup that I envision more people having decks like that when I was drafting. Smith's like showing him Angel Serenity. Oh, he actually has lethal. Yeah. If he just untaps and casts the Angel. Yep, that'll do it. Well played by Smith. And he moves to 6-0. So that actually helps me. Yuuki's 3-3, so I'm alone. If I win, I'll be alone in 3rd place. Probably in pretty good shape. Making the comeback. Are we gonna go join their call?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, I'm jumping in. That works.
Hello there.
So those games were awful.
They're pretty bad.
The last game was pretty interesting to watch to see if like there was ever going to be a window for that mind grind, and there never was.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of trying to just wait out until I saw enough lands in his graveyard and enough lands on the battlefield And then I was like, okay, maybe he'll have like one land or something in his hand at least. But yeah.
That Syncopate was there, and the Mind Grind was there for a very long time. So it was fun for us to watch.
Yeah, I was not drawing anything worthwhile, so I was kind of just relying on the fact that my mana flood might have resulted in hopefully a good Mind Grind.
Did you consider casting the Mind Grind like for 4 or whatever it was when you saw that Simic Growth Chamber, like the first blue source come into play tap? You're like, well, I can get it resolved now.
I don't know. I didn't really put too much thought into doing that or not. I saw the blue sources and I knew he had some shenanigans that could counter it, but I didn't imagine he had that many.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have anything other than Syncopate, for example?
There's 3 ways in my deck to counter it, and Remand only counters it for it.
I think he has Render Silent also. I think you milled that.
And the other thing I was thinking was if I had enough mana for, like, if I drew a counter, then I probably would have Mind Grind for less and kept the counter open just to be safe. Right. But I wasn't drawing a counter. Mm-hmm. I wasn't drawing a lot of things. Yeah.
How about
sorry, go ahead.
That Smith had an interesting 6-card hand in the last game. Did you think about keeping that, or no? It was just not enough lands.
It was a 1-lander.
Right. So like, you had 2 castable spells, or like, you had the Arrestor and the Skyjack, I think, and you had the Plains. And you had like the Scry and the Draw, but it was still like, it was definitely sketchy. Like, I'm not saying you should have kept it. It was just, I thought that you would consider it.
Yeah. These 2 creatures can get outclassed by the wall really fast anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Skyjack's not good until you're attacking with 3 creatures. But at that point, it's quite good, I think.
Yeah.
That Minister did a number on me, though.
Yeah, that card is very good.
During the second game, I was debating whether I should have blocked into what seemed like a trap, but I was like, he could be bluffing. I'm just going to assume he's probably bluffing. And I don't feel like taking damage for no reason, so that's why I went to the first block, and then I was debating on countering the Minister. And I was just like, he knows I have cancel because I accidentally threw it on the battlefield earlier. So is this bait because he wants to play something else? Because he had a decent amount of mana at that point in time, and I just wasn't certain. But I was just like, I think I might be able to play around it, and was not able to play around it.
We were slightly amused at the Whispering Madness game too, hitting Angel Serenity and Lavinia, and then both of you drew 3 lands each.
Yep.
That was miserable.
Because I was just like, I have 3 cards that aren't terrible, but I kind of would like to get something else, and that something else was, I was not hoping for land.
Yeah.
But he also drew 3 lands, so it was okay.
You broke even. I think you actually came out ahead in the exchange, but you were far enough behind that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Wow. I just looked on the chart. I took Minister of Impediments on my pick on round 19.
Yeah, in the modern draft, like, I played a ton of, I think it was like Kolagon's command. Like, I didn't realize how, like, people hadn't figured it out yet. I took it in around 35, and I played it main deck, and like, it won me a bunch of games and stuff. It's funny how like these drafts, like even the late rounds can really matter sometimes. How'd you guys sideboard? I think Smith brought in the aggressive creatures. We talked about that. We weren't really sure how Yuuki was going to sideboard, if at all.
My only swap out was the 4-cost wall junk troller for Far and Away.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't find much for that matchup specifically, but let's puts us in an interesting spot now. So you and Chris are 3-3. It helps me a lot if I win my match against Carney, but could come down. And also the fact that 2 of us lost means that Scott and Carney actually aren't dead yet. So there could still be like a massive tie at 3 and 4 if we all just keep losing. So, which actually was on pace to happen in the modern one for a little while, but ended up not. I think I dream crushed somebody. I think like I beat Joe in the last round and like made that not possible to happen. Okay, Hunter, did you have any more questions?
That's all I can think of.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I guess one thing, Yuuki, tap your mana right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I know.
we were complaining
I know.
about
I caught
that.
that as soon as I went over and was like, hey, Rogue Passage doesn't give me mana that I need. Hopefully
Yeah.
it doesn't play a multicolor spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that first game I made a decent amount of play mistakes just because Smith was doing 0 things and I was mana flooding, but I had Bob, so I got through the mana flood faster.
Yeah, you were less than one life per card.
I think
Yeah.
it was less than half a life per card.
Bob dealt more damage to Smith than it did to Yuuki in that game.
It did.
I was keeping tally after a few turns. It was like 8 to 6 or something.
Did I end up taking 6? I thought it was like 5.
Maybe you flipped 2. You flipped a 3 and then you flipped one more spell, but I forget which one it was.
It was Codex Shredder.
Okay, so maybe it was only 4 then. It was pretty funny though. Alrighty, we're gonna stop the recording, get Scott and Harry ready to go. Actually, I already have it up on the screen, and we'll be back momentarily.